My name is Troels Volman. I am the composer of Tomb Raider Anniversary Edition. Being a composer in the games industry is a very delicate task because on one hand you gotta bring experience from the movie media and really integrate a lot of experience of that, but you also gotta understand how the game operates. One of the sort of nostalgic factors we wanted to play on was related to the reveal sound in the first game. You have this wonderful vibraphone kind of sound for all the reveals where you just had to get in. The original goal was to go back, listen to the original music, being faithful to the original soundtrack, but still evolve it. In Trey, we wanted only to use a symphonic orchestra and really just being very traditional in the sense, so the four main levels each have a classical setting and they have different kind of themes and so forth, but the whole thing is classical and very traditional. You have the whole symphonic orchestra. You got strings, you got brass, you got woodwinds, you got percussion, you got the choirs, which is sort of the typical setting for doing these type of scores. I think more importantly, it's not so much about the instrumentation, but what you can really expect to hear is the themes. We got all the thematic material from the original games. The choirs are back, even though I've modified them somehow. I think some of the music in Egypt had an interest to me. There's a sort of typical way you score Egyptian music, and it's not really Egyptian, it's Persian. People don't know that, but there's certain scales you use in Persia. Another thing that was really important was for the cinematics. All the cinematics are very sort of in a classical, typical orchestrated sense. In Legend I used way many different things, combined them electronica and like jazz and weird kind of stuff. When this one is super classical, all the cinematics are just completely orchestral like the game as a whole.
The soundscape for Tomb Raider Anniversary is different from Legend in that it's an evolution and it's a lot more varied and a lot more detailed.
The goal in creating the audio environment was really to try and sell the area where you were.
Different games have different themes and different tones. For Tomb Raider, we wanted really an epic, adventurous feel. It's different from the original Tomb Raider in that the original sounds were very basic. At this point now, we can do things that the original couldn't. We have thousands more sounds than the original had. The average Laura animation probably has about as many sounds as the entire original Tomb Raider. You want those big dramatic effects and that kind of classic adventure feel. You really need to do a lot of processing and combining. Without audio, things seem dead and repetitive.
All you're doing is seeing a location, and hearing it puts you in there and makes it more believable.
People tend to think the game looks better the better the audio is. We're not pulling punches. We're trying to go for the full glory here. We're trying to, give the player just this really satisfying experience.